I hypnotized Stephen Bartlett on his show Diary of a CEO, and today I'm going to break down exactly what I did and show you what RTT, such a powerful therapeutic technique, can do for him and what it can do for you. So you're highly suggestible. I'm going to show you. So let's do it again. Just look up as high as you can. Keep your eyeballs up. Breathe in, breathe out. Take another deep breath, keeping your eyeballs up. Every time you blink, deep, powerful hypnosis is coming upon you. Breathe out. And just one more time, keep your eyeballs up. And this time, the more you blink, the deeper you're going to hypnosis. As you exhale, keep your eyeballs up. Close your eyelids down. Forget all about the position of your eyeballs. Drop your chin. As if you're looking down 10 steps, you're looking down 10 steps, you're moving on to step 10. So what we're doing here is that when you go into an alpha brainwave, you are highly, highly suggestible and highly programmable. So when we look up like this and keep our eyeballs up but shut the lids down, we're going into alpha. If you have a baby that's about to go to sleep, you notice they start to do that. So I'm showing Stephen how to go into an alpha brainwave. He's looking up, keeping his eyeballs up, breathing in and out 3 times, and each time he blinks, hypnosis is coming upon him. You might notice his mouth is quite tense, but the minute he drops his chin, all of that fades away. So the first step is to look up, go into the most programmable brainwave, which is an alpha state. Close your eyelids down, then drop the chin, which makes the eyes go back to an easier state, and then going down 10 steps, which is simply a deepening technique. You see, people want to believe they're deeply in hypnosis, and actually it's not true. The light hypnotic state can have a powerful result, but because clients love to think I'm so deep, I say go deeper, deeper, deeper. So we're doing 2 things, putting Stephen into hypnosis and taking him deeper. You're taking step 2, you're taking step 1, just go deeper, deeper, deeper. I'm going to show you. You're going to show me that you are powerfully able to accept a suggestion and make it real. I'm going to tell you, Stephen, that your eyelids are locked shut, glued shut, sealed together. Your eyelids are glued tight. Try to open your eyes, find they're locked shut. Go deeper. Try to open your eyes, find they are glued tight. Go deeper. And one more time, try to open your eyes, find they are fused together. Go deeper, deeper, deeper. The next thing I'm doing here is a suggestibility test. I'm telling Stephen his eyelids are glued shut, and the harder he tries to open them, the more they stay shut. Why am I doing that? Well, people want to know, hey, am I hypnotized or am I just lying here listening to you talk? Clients want to know, wow, you said I couldn't open my eyes. You said my hands were glued together. You said my hand was glued to my knee and, I couldn't move it. And then they go, wow, so it must be working, because we all like a little bit of proof. So when I tell Stephen his eyes are glued shut, sealed shut, locked tight, and he can't open them, he's now got some proof. Wow, A, this is working, and B, my mind is really good at hearing something and making it real. And that's when the magic happens, because we learn if our mind can make our thoughts real, surely we should think better thoughts all the time. And that's the beginning of having Stephen understand his mind's job is to make his thoughts real, and his job, such an important job, is to think better thoughts all the time. And it's your job too. So you're about 7. Describe what's happening in this scene.
I'm sat on a grass hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at my lunchbox.
And as you look at your lunchbox, how do you feel? As I'm sitting on a grass hill, I'm looking at my lunchbox and I feel
disappointed.
Because
I have these boring sandwiches in my lunchbox.
Our mind goes backwards all the time. You might say, wow, when I smell apple pie, I remember my grandmother. When I hear that song, I remember my first date. When I smell that smell, I remember being on holiday in Greece. So smells, sounds, taste always take us backwards. So since the mind goes back naturally, I'm taking Stephen's mind back to find out what chocolate meant to him when he was a kid, because it's the meaning he made of it that's playing out in his mind over and over again. After all, no one says, I'm having an awful day, I need some celery, my life is terrible at the moment, I need some broccoli. We say, I'm having a bad day, I need cookies and cream, ice cream, pizza. You see, the only food that's naturally half fat and half sugar is breast milk. You can have fatty food like olives and nuts and seeds. You can have sweet food like mangoes, but there's no thing in nature that's half and half, but breast milk is. And when you're a baby, your mother picks you up and feeds you. All your needs are met. You're connected, you're significant, you're loved, you're warm, you're with a person, and you're fed this milky, fatty, sweet stuff. And the brain goes, oh, that makes everything okay. It makes everything right with the world. And so now the brain is going back to, I'm having a bad day, but that fatty, sugary stuff like ice cream, cookies and milk, hot chocolate, even a burger and fries, because that is fat and actually sweet. The bun, the ketchup, the mayo is sweet. We're going back to what it means. But when we can change what the meaning is, when we can make a different meaning, we don't go back anymore. So Stephen is beginning to understand that when he was a kid, he didn't have access to candy. They didn't have much money, but his friends did. And when he got it, when he got the same chocolate and sweets that they had, he felt like them. And when he didn't have it, he felt less than. So as a grown-up man, when he tried to deny himself sugar, up came this emotional memory of being less than. So it wasn't the sugar, it's what the sugar meant to him that sent him back to it, because he didn't really want it. But his mind said, oh no, you need that, because it makes you feel more than or equal. And that's what's so beautiful about hypnosis. It will find the link. What is playing out in your brain? What does this thing mean to your mind? And why is it going back? And then when you've got the information, you can change the meaning, but you must get the information. People turn up and say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess I'm crazy. We go, no, that's not true at all. Let's go back and find out. Without that information, you can't change the meaning. So a lot of people say, well, can't you just give someone a suggestion to change? Well, you can, and it can work. But clients love going back and going, wow, look at that. Who would have thought that that one event, that one scene, or those few scenes would have shaped my entire life because of the meaning I made of it, which today I can change. Events affect you, but here's the thing, what you mean about the event, how you interpret that event, what you make of that event will affect you more than the event. We can't change the event, we can change the meaning. But also this sense of helplessness. I'm disappointed there's nothing I can do. I don't like this food and I can't change it. Is that true?
Yeah.
How else is he feeling about this lunchbox and his life? It's just more
confirmation that he's different.
He's different, exactly. More confirmation he's different. So just put that scene to one side. So we're seeing a scene where Stephen is very bored with his lunch, and his family doesn't have much money. He doesn't have what the other kids have, exciting lunch boxes, probably chocolate bars in there or something better than what he has. He just has a boring sandwich. But you see, a child can't change it. So there's this feeling of helplessness and hopelessness, and he says, I'm different. Other kids don't have this, and for a child, we are wired to be the same. Being different is a bane of a child's life. I went to my father's school. I felt so different because I was the head teacher's daughter. I felt like a freak. I know all about that. But in Stephen's case, this food and this lack of exciting stuff makes him feel different and helpless and hopeless because he can't change it. He wants to be like the other kids. And his 7-year-old brain has belief, if I have what they have, I'll be like them. And what they have that he doesn't have is sugar, snacks, sugary snacks, candy bars, cakes. So it's all becoming very clear. And interesting, here's the thing, I love the word cure, comes from the word curious. When you get curious, how could that scene have affected me all these years later when you become fascinated with a story unfolding? When you get curious, you get to the cure, as we're about to see.
12, 13, 14.
And only one question matters. You're 12 or 13. What are you doing, seeing, feeling? What are you experiencing?
I'm stood outside this corner shop and there's a takeaway next to it. Mm-hmm. And my friend called Ashley, he's always got loads of money and he's just going in there and buying whatever he wants. And I'm, again, like waiting for him to, I don't know, give me some scraps, or I'm feeling that the feeling I'm feeling is like jealousy. Yeah,
I want you to stay with that feeling. Ashley can go in and get whatever he wants from this takeaway and the shop, and you can't. So you've got to wait for Ashley to give you his leftovers or the bits he doesn't want. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell me what that feels like. I want you to feel the feeling right now. Let yourself feel that old familiar feeling. What does it feel like?
It makes me feel inferior, I guess.
It's okay to say inferior.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling. You don't feel it today. You can say that kid felt inferior because he did. That's okay. So here's the second scene where Stephen's friend Ashley has money. He's going to a takeaway. Stephen's standing outside. He can't go in because he can't buy anything. And he's dependent on Ashley giving him some of the remains of the food that he doesn't finish. And that makes him feel inferior, inadequate, less than. And because he feels less than, the only thing that would make him feel equal to is having the same food, the ability to get the same food, to go into the takeaway or the sweet shop. But he doesn't have that ability. And we're going to see what that does in scene 3. But for children, our greatest need is to be the same. Being different is the bane of a life for a child. We need to be the same. We need to be connected and not rejected. And already we can see that Stephen's financial situation makes him feel different, less than, inadequate, inferior, jealous, resentful, and again, helpless, hopeless, because he can't change it. He can't say, okay, I'm 25, I'll get a second job. He's a schoolboy and has limited abilities and is very aware that he doesn't feel equal to others. He feels that inequality, and that's shaping him. As a boy, it makes him feel inadequate, and that's a horrible feeling for any young kid to have. I really want to help you grow, but you can help me back by liking and subscribing. If you like and subscribe, I can let you know what else is coming up to help you grow. We always want to grow and expand, not contract. So please like, please subscribe, and please write to me and let me know how I can help you. What kind of stuff would you like to hear? What kind of material? And I promise you I'll do it for you. You might be saying, well, how did you work that out so quickly? I've been a therapist my entire adult life, and we all have the same issues. They are, I don't feel enough, I'm different, so I can't connect, and here's something. What I want is not available to me. Every problem you have comes under an umbrella of those 3 things. I'm not enough. I'm different, so I can't connect. What I want is not available. When I'm working with clients, I've trained 20,000 therapists to work with clients. We always look for those 3 things. Here's the scenes that are coming up. Let's have a look at where this is showing up. And in Stephen's case, it's all showing up. He wants access to fun, luxury, and food. It's not available to him. He feels different because he doesn't have what the other kids have, and it makes him feel not enough. So when you're looking at issues in your life, make it easy on yourself. Ask yourself 3 questions. In this scene or in this situation in my life today, do I feel not enough? Do I feel different and I find it hard to connect? Do I believe that what I want is not available to me? And that shows I want love, but I didn't have a dad. I want to be happy, I've got the depressed gene. I want success, but I didn't go to college. So we block ourselves because these 3 indicators of what's going on in our emotional body are things that we can change as adults, but not as a child. You see, children do something interesting. I call it tagging. They look at a scene, I don't have money for nice things. I don't have money for new school shoes. I can't go on school trips. I don't have a dad. My mum is always shouting at me. I don't have love. And then they do this tagging. And it will always be like this. It will never change. It will be like this for the rest of my life. And then we have something else coming along called learned helplessness, learned hopelessness. Stephen's only option, as you'll see, was to steal chocolate because of the helplessness. But then the tagging, all these years later, he still has an issue with this food because she'll tag on a belief. My mum doesn't love me, it will always be like this. I'm no good at maths, it will always be like this. I can't read in front of the class. And 40 years later, I can't speak in public, I can't read a document. Something that happened 40 years ago. And once you make that tag, it actually becomes sometimes that way for the rest of your life because of the tagging. I met this girl at a talk I was giving, so stunningly beautiful. And she said, you know, I feel really ugly. And then she told me that she moved to LA when she was like 8. Her mum made all her clothes. And all the kids went, oh, you look like a freak, because she went to school wearing clothes her mother had made. They weren't fashionable. She came from the Midwest and she had no idea till she moved to California that girls could be like that. And she said, you know, all these years later, I feel ugly. I feel like a freak because of the tag she put on. People laugh at me. Girls don't like me. I look like a freak. In fact, people did like her and she looked beautiful, but she had a tag. The next day she came in wearing this amazing short kimono with a tight belt and said, I feel really good. The tag is gone. I never even knew I had it. But I walked through life feeling like a hideous freak that girls didn't like from something that happened 30 years ago that I couldn't get over because of the tag. And when the tag was removed, she was a different person. And you can be too. What are you feeling, seeing, and experiencing? Feel what you felt, see what you saw.
I'm stealing food, stealing sweets and whatever I want.
Yeah. That's what you're doing. I want you to tell me what the feeling is. What are you feeling as you do that?
Like, I guess people are going to be impressed. So like there's a feeling of like power, I guess.
Yeah, you've gone from
powerful.
the inferior to the superior because you've now got the same food as them and you can share it with them, even give some away. Is that right?
Yeah.
So having the same food as the other kids takes you from inferior to at least equal, maybe even superior.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right or wrong?
That's right.
What else is going on in this scene?
I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting.
Sure.
I'm
It
just
up-levels
filling
you.
my bag with all this food.
I'm filling my bag with all this food because I want you to say that exactly that way. Repeat after me. I'm filling my bag.
I'm filling my bag
with all of this food.
With all of this food.
Because
I want what my friends have.
Yeah. So here we see in this scene Stephen's driving need to be like his friends, to be equal, to be the same. And we can't underestimate how important that is to a kid. But he's under 10. It's not like he can say, hey, I'm going to get a weekend job. He doesn't have any options. He can't ask his mother because he knows she's limited and he doesn't want to stress her. So he steals the candy, he steals the sweets, he steals the confectionery. He feels excited. He feels good because children live in the world of their feeling. And his feeling is, if I have this, I also have that. If I have the chocolate bars, then I feel like my friends, and I need to feel like my friends. It's exciting that I'm leveling up to their level. I don't want to be less than. None of us want to be less than. And we're not judging his behavior. He's found a way that makes him feel better. And it's so interesting, years ago, when my daughter was about 5, I had a children's party. And this little girl raced in and she literally took some cakes and shoved them up her dress and ran in the garden. This was the same girl whose mother followed behind her with a bag of peas and went, oh, these are her green Smarties. She was not allowed sugar. And I said to the mother, you're really making that kid act in a strange way. She knows that these are peas. The kids know they're peas. You're bringing a bag of peas for this kid, and she's come to a children's party and she can't eat anything. And the first thing she's done is grab handfuls of chocolate bars and cakes and shove them up her dress and ran into the garden to eat them. And you probably need to look at that just a little bit. She went, well, the school's told me the same thing, actually, because I won't let her have birthday cake when the kids come in. And the school said that she's now stealing food out of kids' lunch boxes. And this was a 5-year-old. So this is not unfamiliar behavior. And she said, well, anyway, I've decided that she can have an inch of the sponge. I'm like, come on, I understand what you're doing, but this is fanatical. And you're making her fanatical. She's going to grow up and be obsessed with sugar. Just give her a little bit. It's actually more important to put good stuff in than take bad stuff out. And actually, that kid became a real problem when she got older. She became an alcoholic because she was obsessed with anything that was forbidden, because the mother, well-intentioned mother, but was too fanatical. But I thought of that little girl when I saw Stephen also stealing the food because he just wanted to get the feeling. We can't blame him for that. He was hardwired. You see, our safety is linked to being the same. We know if I belong, if I'm like you and you're like me, I'll survive. In a tribe, if we didn't fit in and they banished us, we could die. So we understand this gut thing. If I'm like you and I belong, I'll make it. And all he's trying to do is go back to this primitive need to be like everyone else so he will make it. So we're not looking at the stealing. We're looking at the feeling. I first want you to tell me, how did those scenes that you just looked at lead you to having sometimes these cravings for sugar that your body doesn't need but your mind wants?
Buying sugar or getting it makes me feel... makes me feel powerful.
Sure. Yeah,
That's
because it made you feel power. You had the power. That little kid had no power to get a different lunchbox. The little kid who got Ashley's scraps had no power. But the kid that filled his bag had some power to say, I've got what everyone else has got. And if I don't feel better, then I at least feel equal too.
Yeah. There's always been that kind of underlying thing because I could never have it.
Yeah.
As an adult, it's kind of like an expression of like my new autonomy.
Yeah, of course. I can have whatever I want. Yeah. What Stephen saw here was the power having access to chocolate bars or candy bars or sweet food gave him. And because it made him feel powerful and equal and free and good, all these years later when he tried to live without sugar, the brain went, oh, no, no, no. If you don't have sugar, you're not going to have the power and the feeling, because it's always the feeling we're going for. If we say, I need a drink, we know that actually it's better to have a cup of tea than a glass of wine, but the feeling is the wine makes me feel safe, interesting, witty, funny, confident. When we say, I need to take some drugs, I need to get high, they're saying again, I need the feeling. The drugs make me feel calm, safe, relaxed, confident. So we're always looking at what is the feeling we're getting from this? What are we feeling when we gamble, when we shoplift? It's always a feeling. And the great thing is when you can find the feeling and say, oh, first of all, I don't need that feeling. Or two, I could get the feeling without having to eat cake, drink whiskey, take drugs. Now you're going to win, because it's the feeling the mind is desperately trying to recreate. Again, it's why we like the food that babies have. You know, I've had people say, oh my God, when I go to a children's party, I just want to eat all those things because it makes me feel the way I couldn't feel as a child, that I've got access to it. So we're always going to find the feeling. And what we're doing here is finding the pattern, understanding the pattern, changing the pattern, finding the feeling, completely understanding the feeling, then changing it. So when you do this for yourself, find the pattern. Don't judge, don't criticize, understand it with fascination and insight and curiosity, and then change it. Find it, understand it, change it. That's what we're doing throughout this session. And what's so important is when I'm explaining to Stephen, I'm really letting him explain to me. It's more important that he gets it. So I could do that thing of just telling him. That's very traditional therapy, but I don't do that. I let my clients tell me, you tell me, because then I know they've really got it, and then I know they're going to succeed at living without it, and it's going to be easy because they got it, not I got it. They got it. And Stephen has really got it, and I'm so impressed with him. And remember, Stephen's session, he said food makes him feel powerful. In this session, the power of him working out what it's all about is that word power all over again. That's what I want to have, the power to say, I'm indifferent to sugar. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is complete and utter indifference and disinterest. And that's what he's going to have with sugar from now on. The little kid sitting on the grassy bank with a disappointing lunchbox. And I want you to say to me, that's not me anymore, because you need to tell me exactly why. Justify and tell me why that's not you. So repeat after me. That little kid on the grassy bank with a disappointing lunchbox.
That little kid on the grassy bank with a disappointing lunchbox.
Is not me.
Is not me.
And will never be me ever again.
And will never be me ever again.
Because. Why is that not you? Tell me.
Because I can have whatever I want now.
Yeah. You're not 7. Your mother doesn't provide your lunch every day, does she?
No.
And if she did and you hated it, couldn't you go out and get whatever you want?
Yeah.
I would say, that's not me.
That's not me.
I'll never be 7.
I'll never be 7.
With a disappointing lunch ever again.
With a disappointing lunch ever again.
I'll never be 7 having less than other people ever again.
I'll never be 7 having less than other people ever again.
That can't be me.
That can't be me.
I can have whatever I want now.
I can have whatever I want now.
And what I really want.
And what I really want.
Is to be indifferent to sugar.
Is to be indifferent to sugar.
It's not me and that's not me anymore, because it's some of the most powerful work I do in RTT therapy. I love the fact that the simple things are often the most powerful, the most profound, and have the most far-reaching effects. And I have clients say, oh, that's not me anymore, because I'm not 3, I don't go to school wearing second-hand clothes, I don't have a horrible lunch, I don't live in a house where my mum prefers my brother, blah, blah, blah. When we do this session today, and even outside of the session, you can do this amazing technique. Anytime you can just sit down and go, well, that's not me anymore, because it's not me. Because when I was a kid, I felt like an absolute freak. I went to my father's school. I thought I was hideous. I couldn't fit in anywhere. It's really weird when your father is the head teacher. But that's not my life now. My father, I love him. He's not here anymore. I don't go to his school. I love my life. But I had to do that. Well, that's not me anymore, because you see, the thing is, when I left that school, I took that with me for years. I always felt like a freak. I always felt different because I took it with me. It's what I call the luggage of life. You've got a big backpack on, and it's got all this stuff from the past that isn't us. If you want to get rid of the backpack, just say, that's not me anymore, because, and then say, I don't live in that home. My mum doesn't prefer my sister. Even if she did, who cares? I've got a husband, I've got kids, I've got a wife, I've got a life. Imagine you're justifying to me why that isn't you anymore. And just say, that's not me anymore, because complete the sentence. That cannot be me ever again for the rest of my long, gorgeous life, because finish the sentence. It's simple. It's powerful. It can change your entire life. Do it a lot until it stops doing what you do and becomes who you are, just like we did for Stephen. Imagine taking little Stephen back to the world you live in today. I want you to say some particular words. I want you to say to that little Stephen, I'm upgrading you into my world now.
I'm upgrading you into my world now.
And this is a nicer place.
And this is a nicer place.
This is a safer place.
This is a safer place.
This is a better place.
This is a better place.
Where you feel equal to everyone.
Where you feel equal to everybody.
I want you to imagine taking little Stephen around your house and showing him that you don't live in a disheveled house. You've got a great place. I want you to walk him into the kitchen, open the fridge, open the cupboards and say, look, you don't have that basic food. You can buy everything, order everything, you can have everything. I want you to show him how your life is different rather than the same. Because when you go for the sugar, you're making the old life the same, when in fact, your life now is completely different. So show him your fridge. Show him all the stuff you have. Show him your credit card. Show him your Deliveroo account. Show him everything. Show him how different your world is now. Part of RTT is this wonderful thing I do called upgrading the child and merging the child. And what that means is the client suddenly goes back and finds that little kid from the past and upgrades them into their world. They can imagine taking that child, going back to their childhood bedroom, picking that child up, walking them through the front door where they live today and saying, I'm upgrading you into my world. I'm moving you into my world. This is a nicer, better, safer place. And then showing them, look, hey, I've got Alexa, I've got Sonos, I've got a car, I've got an Uber account, I've got delivery accounts. Didn't have any of those when I was 4. And looking at the difference, because you see, what we do is we look for what's the same. Whatever you focus on, you'll get more of. It's still the same. I still feel like I felt when I was 7 or 8 or 11, but we're going to look for what's different. You live in your own home. You have some stuff. You went out and got, and let's go into your bedroom and look at the clothes in your cupboard. They're not your brother or sister's hand-me-downs. Let's go into the kitchen and look at the fact that you can eat what you want. You get to choose to have breakfast for lunch, lunch for dinner, whatever you want. And then when you've shown that child around the home you live in now and installed them, merged them, you say some words. I'm creating a place in my world for you. I'm creating a place in my life for you. I'm creating a place in my heart for you. Then you do something called the missing bit. You think of the words you never heard. And they're often words just like this. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. You're smart. You're beautiful. You're amazing. I will always have time for you. I'll always listen to you. There's nothing you and I can't do. We have balance now. And you can change that for yourself, but just imagine this little process. In your imagination, go back to your old childhood home, pick up that child, take them to your home, walk them through the door, take them on a tour of your house and show them all the stuff you have. Yes, this is stuff, but you still went out and got it. Show them the car, the job, open your wallet and show them your credit cards even. And then say these magic words, I've created a place in my heart for you. You live in my home, my world, my life. It's nicer, better, safer. And then finally, the word you never heard, you're wonderful, you're smart, look at you, you're so beautiful, I love you so much, you're meant to be here, you have something to offer the world. This whole thing would take maybe 5 minutes. It's one of the most important things you'll ever do. That 5 minutes can change your entire life because suddenly you can't go back. Now that child lives in your world, your life, your heart, your body. You can't go backwards. You can't go back to that old world. It's behind you. It's gone. You can only go forwards like an arrow. And that's important because your childhood is a bow, but you're an arrow. And arrows don't go backwards. We use a bow to fire the arrow as far away from it as we can. And we say, look how fast, how straight, how sleek that arrow is. Nobody goes, hey, where's the bow gone? Because we don't care about the bow, we care about the arrow. And the metaphor there is that you're an arrow going away from the past. You're not going back towards it. You're not going over there. You're going over there. And upgrading and merging the child into your world takes you over there instead of back there. That's why it's so powerful. I love it. People say, wow, that changed my life. It can change yours. You see the truth. And the truth is, although that was you, And you had a very valid reason for doing what you did. And any kid going through what you went through would have probably done what you did and felt the way you felt. But that's the truth. But there's another truth. And here it is for the rest of your long, gorgeous life, for the rest of your long, happy, successful life, where all your needs are met. It will never again be necessary or relevant or even interesting or even appropriate to ever again think about chocolate the way you did as a kid. It's forbidden, I need it, it gives me power and freedom. As you look over that, it's so revealing, so illuminating, so freeing, so liberating, so empowering, because you see the truth. You were looking for a feeling that the 7, the 8, the 9-year-old couldn't get, and you were trying to get the feeling. So when you're an RTT therapist, you wear several hats, and they all begin with I. The first I is becoming an investigator, what I call being a good detective. A good detective looks at a scene and works out what happened. RTT looks at a scene and investigates what happened. And how did what happened affect this person? What did it do to them? When we've got the investigate bit, then we go on to the next bit. We interpret very clearly, because everyone is different. We interpret what this did to our client. And then we go on to the third I. We massively interrupt the belief. That was then, it made sense, and any kid would have done that, felt that, but you're not that kid, so we interrupt it. And the final I is becoming a coder. A coder overwrites faulty information. So the final I is making what I call a transformational recording that says you're moving on from one phenomenal sense of accomplishment to another. This is all behind you, and it starts to say things like you're indifferent to sugar. You love berries. It's a matter of pride to be super healthy. You look after your body. You remember you're not that child. You have choices. The transformational recording just talks about all the good stuff. It starts to code and command and compel the mind to act differently. You see, there's an interplay going on between the mind and body. The body is run by a network of intelligence, which is influenced by the mind, but we are influencing the mind in that recording. And we're sending out different messages from the mind to the body. You're indifferent to sugar. You're done with that. When you look at it, you think, oh no, that's not me at all. I'm actually a berry person. I'm not a dessert person at all. Not only are we sending out different messages from the mind to the body, we're changing the messages coming from the body to the mind. Fear becomes excitement. Panic becomes calm. And here's something amazing. In hypnosis, a critical factor that screens all your thoughts shuts down. And you can let in new stuff. And we saw that happening with Stephen. He began to be free and empowered and different, and to realize that sugar didn't set him free. It actually pulled him back to all those sad feelings he felt as a boy. And so living without it was a sense of joy. There was no FOMO, fear of missing out. There was DOMO, the delight of not needing that, the joy of saying, oh, that's for kids. I don't need it. So we investigate, we interpret, we interrupt, we install. And RTT is amazing because it does it all in one session. Many therapists say, well, let's come in for weeks and discuss it and look at it. And then maybe some months down the line, we might have a breakthrough. We do all of it in one session. We find the pattern straight away within minutes. We make sense of the pattern. That's so important. And then we shatter, we smash, we end, we erase, we change that pattern. And of course, the mind likes change. We change cumulatively, retroactively, immediately. But I always give a client a recording to wire in the change, because the mind learns by repetition. And it's wonderful. It's amazing. And you know what else it is? It's easy. If you would love to experience this, say, hey, I want a therapist. I want you, Marisa. Well, I've trained 20,000 therapists, and they are amazing. They were all personally trained by me. And if you go to Inner Belief, you can find someone who's very skilled, very competent, who can do exactly what I did for Steve and for you. They're every bit as good as me. Some of them are even better. So go to Inner Belief and find someone who can change your entire life in just a couple of sessions, maybe even in just one. And if you love this and would love to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, like and subscribe, and you'll certainly get more. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.